Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann, and I show people how they can live healthy, happy, sustainable lives by changing their habits and using cutting edge products that help them to age well. And I'm absolutely delighted because today I'm joined by Sara Troy. And if you don't yet know who she is an advocate of wisdom. I absolutely love that, Sara. And also, she's the founder of the Self Discovery Media. I should say not the, but Self Discovery Media. So I know today, Sara, that you're going to be talking all about healthy self talk and
Mhm.
who doesn't need that? Because I think even with years and years of personal development, stuff slips out, doesn't it?
Oh, most certainly. I had a wonderful guest on a little while ago, and it was all about resetting from your blockages. And it doesn't matter how much work that we do or how self-assured we've stepped into our presence, into our essence, and we truly feel we are who we are, and we are most of the time. But that old dialogue comes sneaking in, and you're not aware of certain things that you're saying to yourself that actually is switching you back to the negative, switching you back to the conditioning. And it's actually quite interesting when he decided to donate a session to me, and it was quite interesting. It was like, do you realize you're saying this? Oh, no, I didn't realize I was saying that, because then that's what you're putting out to the universe. That is the entire vibration that you're putting out to everyone. And of course, as British, we like, little sarcasticness in the things that we say. We're very good at being self-detrimental for the laugh, but we don't realize how detrimental that is to our psyche, to our aura, and to actually the conditioning of our own spirit and mind, because that talk is what the universe is picking up and saying, well, if that's how you feel about yourself, that's the obviously the energy in which you're going to be perceived as. So when we are getting negative things happening to us, or people aren't reacting to us in a positive way, very often it is because of what we are saying, and we think we're here, but actually the verbiage is there. So it's really, really important that we actually pay attention to what the words that we're using and the tone in which we're saying them in.
Yes, absolutely. So I know that you've got some brilliant tips. So perhaps you'd just like to tell everyone your healthy habits.
um, be present with self. And that means very often you have to be very conscious the fact that, whoops, I've slipped out of presence. And it's only in our actual presence, centering ourselves, being at one with our core, that we see the clarity, and that we are actually open to channel that wisdom that resonates with the heart, that lifts the spirit interaction, that the mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. But how do you remind yourself to be present? And that is, you know, what color is the color that just wraps itself around you? What vision is something that always gives you a, I'm back home. I'm centered. And to remind yourself, if you're feeling a little off kilter, to go into that space. Take a moment, get into that space. Let it be something that wraps around you, that comes, penetrates right within you and recenters you. And you will know, because your entire body changes, the posture changes, the way you look at everything changes. So it's really, really important to center oneself, to come back into oneself. I described it as coming home. It's when the universe and I and the human side of me all meet in harmony. And everything is just like a really good deep breath. Anything is possible in this space.
Yes. And can I ask, for those people who are watching that might think, but how do I remember to be in the present moment? Are there some useful strategies that they can employ?
You'll remember, you'll know when you're not, when you're getting irritated or frustrated or just feeling off balance. Something's not feeling right. Then you are not at one with oneself. You're not centered. You're not in the core of you. So you will know when you're not. The ship is tilting, a little bit too much there, and you want to rebalance it. And then it really is then the mindfulness for the soulfulness. The mind needs to just say, okay, stop everything you're doing and, do what it is that you do that brings you back to yourself, where you are back in that center of yourself. So you'll know when you're not. And again, by the verbiage or by the reaction from people, or just even kind of reaction to yourself sometimes. Like, why did I say that? What's going on? Because it's always an indication that something is going on that's throwing you off kilter. And then put yourself, the mind is the one that's playing the tricks on us all the time. The heart, soul, and spirit are wanting to be in harmony in their own beautiful divine intellect that will always keep us centered and connected to source, God, universe, spirit, energy, whatever you wish to call it. And it's when we're at one with that's when we know our most centeredness. So it's pay attention to what the mind is saying, and that if you're feeling things are off kilter, that is the time to do whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself back into center.
I guess sometimes having a strategy, like for instance, for me, sometimes I set an alarm on my phone, and then when that alarm goes off, it reminds me to kind of take stock and ask myself a question. How am I feeling right now? Or it might be having what I call sticky fix-its, around the place, to just say, just kind of interrupt whatever pattern I'm in at the time.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. And that's the thing of it, when you get to know who you are from the inside out, you'll know you'll know which triggers put you off balance, but you'll also know which things can put you back in. And I don't care if you think it's silly, you suddenly get up and start singing "We Are the Champions," or start boogieing and dancing around, whatever it is that gets you out of where you were, that is certainly not serving you, and back into that centered space. I mean, being in centered space doesn't mean you have to be all, it can be something like even screaming from the top of the bridge. It doesn't matter. I don't recommend screaming in your home, because this could worry your neighbors, right? But sound more operatic when you want to do that, and they just think you're a bad singer and not screaming for help. But it is up to us to find what puts us back there. Is it music? Is it saying something to yourself? Is it a mantra? Is it standing up and literally shaking the sillies out of you? You know who you are and what will snap you out of it. You've just got to explore that.
Yeah. I think as well, sometimes if we're sat working at a computer for a long period of time, I mean, our bodies really don't want to be sat looking at something for a long period of time. So actually, setting an alarm just to have a break.
That's a good idea.
To go off and do something, maybe walk around the block, or get up, like you say, have a dance, or do something else, have a conversation with someone else, and then get back to the computer and refocus, means that we'll have way more energy, and we will be in a different state because we've moved.
Yes, and that's essential, that movement. I'm 7 hours a day at the computer, generally doing 2 shows a day. And then there's all the administrative stuff that has to go with it, the production, the emails that have to be answered, all the social media interaction, because don't be on social media if you're not going to interact. And please remember, if you're doing business, do it by email. Nobody wants to receive everything by text. That's a reminder. It's not the conversation. That's just my rant. But it is, I'll go and make myself a cup of coffee, go to the bathroom and make a quick snack. And while I'm doing it, I'll either completely jog on the spot, or just shake everything out, or stretch everything out, and again, the neighbors are probably wondering what's going on, but it is just, as you say, get the energy going in your body, shaking out that posture. And also, even that focus that you got in on the computer, sometimes it's good to break it, refresh, just like we refresh our computer, refresh ourselves. And when we do come back, we've got more energy to deal with what we need to deal with. And that goes whether it's computer, whatever you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, what you're saying about the self-talk, a lot of it, of course, is not out there in the ether. It's not heard by other people. It's just within our own head. And it
our
goes
psyche.
It's the same old thing. But again, like you were saying about the way that you feel, if something's going on in your head, it's going over and over and over, you're not going to feel great. So that
right. No, you're not. Absolute marker. And we've got to understand that our thoughts are programming. And very often we have programming that is running in the background there that we don't even acknowledge. And they are the ones that are constantly repeat, 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 and you're wondering why, but I did something different. Why hasn't it turned out better? And it's because that old programming is the negative program. No, it's not going to work. No, don't think they're going to do this with you. No, that's not going to happen. And it's subliminal in many ways, and you don't realize it's there. And that is from past, your DNA conditioning, the way you were brought up, your environment around you, and we take that on. And we have a world that's in so much stress right now, so much anxiety. I don't think there's any country that's not been hit with something, be it war, be the after effects, or even the effects of COVID, or environmental changes. Everybody, certainly the economic changes that are happening that are going to affect the rest of the world. Instead of looking at it in so stressed manner, if we can look at it more from a clear clarity manner, more peaceful, we will see more solutions. We will see more things we're capable of doing, rather than stepping into the worry and the anxiety, which blocks any form whatsoever of creativity or solution-based ideas.
Yes, we need to be solution focused, don't we?
Yes.
That's the way forward.
Yes.
And of course, we all know that if you put the same program into a computer, it's do exactly the same thing. So it is about new programming. But I also think that it's really important to stop. We don't become conscious until we really stop.
Yes.
Check in and,
that's going back into center, going back into presence, being present in your life, this moment. What is the gift of the presence? It's being present, right? Your presence is in your present, being present. And that's really where we should operate from. And when we are present, there's just so much more that we see that is possible.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
So much present. Yeah,
it's so peaceful there, and there's so much more clarity there, and you also don't sweat the small stuff there. And it's like, somebody's angry at you. Did you do something to aggravate them? If you do, apologize, do it calmly, smoothly. No, well, you did this, don't respond, don't react in that way, but respond lovingly, but also understand if they're reacting in that way, it's something going on in their lives that they are picking up and reacting in that way. So it's and sometimes it can be a reflection of the inner you that you are projecting.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that when my experience of being in the present moment is that conversations are effortless.
Absolutely.
You don't have to think
total flow
to say, or it just all happens. It's just created in the moment effortlessly. And so no matter what we're dealing with, and of course we're all dealing with lots of stuff every single day, it is so much easier and so much more, we have so much more power by being in the present moment. And so any other great tips or habits, I should say?
Listen to good podcasts. They can be a really good friend. The wisdom that is shared is generally the experience that someone has had. And we learn so much from other people's journeys. It gives us permission to take our own, to understand who we are, why we are, and what we do. You can listen to it on a walk, in the traffic, in the bathtub, while you're doing the housework or cooking the dinner. I even think set up a podcast, like a book club, podcast club. Everybody listen to the same show and then have a conversation about it, because actually what you're doing now is, I got this out of it, I got that out of it, and then you actually are seeing a bigger picture, and you have no idea how much it can relate to you, especially when you get into conversation about it. So there's always information out there, and of course, being a podcast advocate, I am very much for that. But read also, pay attention, read, and please listen to nature. Nature has so many answers if we are willing to slow down, everything, slow down, pay attention to the signs in life, because those signs are always to guide you in the right way. And if you're too busy, too much chatter, too much in a rush, you're going to miss the solutions that you're looking for.
Absolutely. I love that. And of course, for those of you that are watching right now, you have to look at the links below this video, because Sara has her own show, and
Or network.
her own network. Yeah, and really, she's doing great stuff every single day. And if you check her out and have a listen, have a watch, you'll be
And
amazed.
listen to your show with us.
Thank you. Yes. So,
There's so
any
much
last
knowledge
thing you'd
shared.
like to say before you go?
We are awesome in our flawsomeness. Everybody has a beautiful flaw, like a diamond with a flaw is worth more. So we've all got these beautiful little flaws that are just our quirks in life. You can still be awesome. If I've got this, or I tendency to do that, would be awesome in it, as long as it's not negative to you or anyone else. Don't be afraid to step into your awesomeness. When you are centered, when you are at one with oneself, when you're coming from the inside out, in your truth, in your love. Don't forget, love is the generator of all. When you're in that love of who you are, why you are, and what you do, you are the answer and the solution for other people by the sheer inspiration of you.
I love that. What a way to end it. Thank you, Sara, so very much. Remember, everyone, please check out the links. Sara's links will be there, as will mine. And thank you very much for tuning in. And Sara, thank you so much for talking to us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, love.